Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a product with me that I have been quite keen to check out, and that is the all-new Toyota Tundra here in the 1794 edition, and we're looking at a very good representation of what this new truck is all about. The last model was on sale for 15 years and it really felt like at the tail end of it that it had glossed over a generation where all of the competitors in the marketplace had gone through one or two new generations in that time. The Tundra, with its 5.7 litre V8, very simplistic interior and very honest mission, stayed put. And for the people that wanted to buy that kind of a product, it was a tremendous product. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that the people that wanted that particular type of vehicle were getting what they wanted. These are the people that might be a little more practical, a little more money-wise, and hope to own a product for as long as it will possibly go. But that's not what the mass market is for truck buyers. We're now at a time where all of the American trucks are coming with loaded versions with gorgeous interiors, high quality materials, and appealing to families that never once considered a truck before because they're not buying that vehicle for truck specific purposes. They're buying something that's big, luxurious, and feels quite dominant on the road. So now, more than ever, the Toyota Tundra is up against those American rivals, and I have to say, this is a very impressive vehicle. It's not perfect, and we will go through some of the issues that I have with this later on in the video. But for now, let's talk about what we've got under the hood. We have a 3.5 litre twin turbocharged V6. It's the only engine that you can get now in the Tundra, and the one I'm testing out now is the normal version. There's a hybrid model that by the time you're watching this video, I'm currently in. So if you've got any questions regarding the hybrid model, please put some questions down in the comments down below. I'd be happy to answer them for you. But it's a 3,445 cubic centimeter V6. It produces 389 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to a new 10-speed automatic transmission with selectable four-wheel drive. Now, we're talking about a whole new platform, and really this new Tundra I don't think shares any components with the outgoing one. But even in its most basic configuration, I know there's people out there that will refuse to consider this car because turbocharging isn't as dependable of a power solution as just pure natural aspiration. The 5.7 litre V8 will probably last till the end of time. So those kind of people, I don't really think are going to be upgrading into this product, but up against all of the other rivals like Ford and Chevy and Ram, this twin turbocharged V6 is a very competitive counterpart. In the mornings or whenever you have a cold start, I would say that there's perhaps a little throttle lag, but I've never experienced turbo lag with this motor. This 10-speed, once it's warmed up, it shifts gears so quickly and so smoothly that it almost feels like you're operating a CVT in some extent. It's really impressive. The one thing I don't like about the engine is that I find that when you're at a standstill and the engine's running, perhaps the automatic stop-start hasn't engaged yet, there is some vibration coming into the cabin, but that's really the only harshness I feel when operating this product. Despite these huge power extending mirrors, it is remarkably quiet here in the new Tundra. But you might note something interesting. On the throttle, there is this fake V8 noise, just that slow rumble of a V8 comes through. Hopefully you can hear this. But that is not engine. Really the only engine noise I get at all from this product is when the turbos spool up. Toyota, I believe, has intentionally put a slight V8 soundtrack in this, and I don't mind it, honestly. I actually kind of like it. first time I've ever thought that about a augmented sound for an engine in a vehicle. Other aspects of driving, steering doesn't have really any communication, but feels like a good weight, feels like I know exactly where the wheels are pointing. There is an available air suspension system for this new Tundra. It's only for the rear axle, and it's primarily going to be used for loading materials into the bed. But this standard setup with coil springs in the rear, I think, is a tremendously comfortable truck. I would really need to go back to back with the new Ram and its air suspension to tell which one is better. It really is that good. There's a little bit of roll in the corners, as you expect. I don't feel like I can hustle this thing in the same way I might be able to have some enthusiastic driving in the Ford F-150s, but more than enough to keep me happy and so quiet on the highway, like I said, that this feels like Toyota built it to Lexus grade and put a Toyota badge on it. And I should say that with the 1794 edition, one of the big things is that they claim this is real leather, where a lot of the top specs Toyotas come with their Softex leatherette, and I'm pretty convinced here on the seats this is real leather. You have an obvious downgrade here on the fake leather on the steering wheel, so it does feel remarkably premium in here. So we might as well shift over to this cabin space. Look at it. Look at what a modern Toyota looks like. It feels like the previous generation product and this one was designed by two totally different companies in totally different regions of the world. It's mighty, mighty impressive. The cabin layout, even though I don't think there's as much storage as some rivals, is very smartly appointed. Directly in front of you, where you rest your arms, is very softly padded, and look at the ledge here. This is such a comfortable, laid-back position for me. I feel like I could cross the country in this given driving position. I've got a thigh extender, heated and ventilated front seats, front and rear, in this trim level. And realistically, the only faults that I have is that I find that the top of the windshield is a bit low. So as a tall guy, even with the seat in the lowest position, I find I have to duck down to look up at traffic lights and that kind of a thing every once in a while, which is something I don't ever feel like I experience in any of its rivals. But let's talk tech, because look at this 14-inch touchscreen here. It is ridiculous, quite frankly. It is one of the absolute best touchscreens I have ever interacted with in a product. Super snappy, very good graphics, and even though I know it's deeply, deeply illegal, and I'm sure my lawyers would not like me saying this, I feel as though if someone wanted to hack into the system and put a Netflix film or something up, this would be the best in-car display to do such a thing. There isn't a lot of customization. The inboard navigation is fine, but I feel most people are just using Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to solve their navigation. And in here it is wireless only for the 14-inch. If you go for the smaller 8-inch screen, you will have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as a wired connection only. And I have just a general frustration with wireless Apple CarPlay. For me, on my commute back home to and from Canmore, there's a couple of dead spots. So if you're on a phone call or if you're listening to music, the disconnection, it will disconnect. So that's deeply annoying to me. Now, it's an interesting dichotomy with such a big flash screen here and then some analog buttons down here, but this is a combination that I love. I definitely wouldn't want to have the climate control system in board with the touchscreen like it is on the Lexus products that the software is sharing with Toyota's latest screen tech. The well-appointed cabin and the good storage that we have in here, you can see this opens up, deep center console here. This, you can store something in there, hide it underneath. This, thick enough for a phone, can hide in there. Toyota does call this authentic wood, but to me it's pretty evident that it isn't. Not a fan of that. And I have to admit that even though there's this huge panel here to access the panoramic roof, it doesn't work. I've spent all week trying to get it to work, reading through the manual, disconnecting the battery. So unfortunately, I do have to report that this is faulty, and this is a brand new truck. So hopefully this will be looked at in the future, and when I get the hybrid model next week, maybe I can show that off to you there. Now, moving into the back seats, I would say that this is the weakest point of the Tundra. It doesn't seem quite as large back there as many of the other American trucks. I can sit back there perfectly fine, and there is a bit of a cutout for my head, so I can just slip in there and fit my hand over top of my head. But I certainly have more space in, let's say, an F-150. There's a sizable hump in the middle of the floor, and you do have under-seat storage, which is great, but it's this hard plastic outline, where in something like the Ford, it's collapsible. So there's perhaps a little more versatility in the back of the Ford, which you don't get here. And that's a little bit of a shame, but I'm glad that Toyota implemented it anyways. There is also a little bit of storage behind the seat here. This is where you're going to access your tire jack. A returning feature for the Tundra is that the rear glass totally goes down. Great if somebody needs to load up something super long like a surfboard or anything like that, but you have 3 configurations for the truck bed: a 5.5 foot, 6.5 foot, and an 8 foot 1 inch bed size with this new Tundra. Moving over to the bed, like I said, you've got those 3 different configurations, and all of them, I believe, have these integrated cutouts. So if you wanted to build your own dividers or stack wood, you're able to do that very easily here in the Tundra. And in this model, I particularly like how there's this button on the side integrated with the tail lights. So if you ever had something large in your hands and couldn't reach for the normal grab handle on the trunk, you just bump that and it drops down. Smart feature. Outside of that though, not much more to say about the bed. You don't have any kind of side steps or anything that folds out of the bed like some of its rivals. And finally, let's do a quick talk about the styling of the Tundra. Personally, I really like the way this truck looks. Not too much chrome that it's insulting, quite tastefully appointed here. We have smoked mesquite as the paint job. That looks quite good here, a good complement to the interior. And as every manufacturer that puts LED tail lights and headlights and indicators in, there's got to be some sort of animation, and that's what the Tundra has here. And I wonder if anyone else sees this too. I would say that the tail lights have a slight resemblance of the American flag. There's also a couple of other Easter eggs that you'll see in this product, like for the 12.3 inch digital instrument cluster, there's 5 different loading animations when you start up the product. Most of them, I believe, are American national parks. The new Tundra, the maximum towing capacity is 12,000 pounds, maximum payload capacity 1,900 pounds, and for this exact model I'm testing out, it's a little bit less. Numbers up on the screen now. So for those attending the vigil of the previous generation V8 Tundra, this new one might not quite be aligned to your buying needs. It might not be the truck that you hoped Toyota would be making. But truthfully, Toyota had that product on sale for 15 years, and I would hope to imagine that you could find a decent one in the used market that's just as dependable as what it was when it was on the showroom floor. So for everybody else, the mass market that's looking for a modern truck, whether it's the more entry-level version or quite a trimmed out version like this, I really think the Toyota Tundra deserves your attention. No matter your brand loyalty, no matter what you're cross-shopping, you need to consider this new Toyota Tundra. I would honestly be putting it close to the top of my list if I was going out there purchasing a light-duty pickup truck. To me, it really does feel like a quality product that you're putting your money into it and you're getting your money out of it. And the faults I have with this are fairly minor. So bravo, Toyota. I really do think this is one of the best products I've ever tested out from you. I look forward to trying out the hybrid next week, so hopefully I will see you again in that video. Please do put any questions that you have down in the comments down below, and I'll try to address them when I get my hands on that product. Looking forward to seeing you more, and can't wait till the next time.